G'day, it's Mark and welcome back to the channel. And in today's episode, we haven't done an update on this car for quite some time, but we're going to check out the progress on the Cadillac Seville. So here's the Cadillac Seville. It's been a while and there's been quite a bit done to it, but I haven't done an update for quite a while. But I'm going to drive it today for the first time. Should be plain sailing, Ray.
Yeah, I'm quite happy you'll be fine with it. Yep.
Okay, it's a man speaking with confidence. Do you want to just take us through, Ray, what you've done to the car, if you can remember?
Yeah, good question.
It's a bit of a list, isn't it?
Yeah, it started off with the fuel injectors.
Yeah.
Which were the initial problem, it wouldn't start. They're being replaced.
Yep. It was overfueling, wasn't it, at one stage?
Yes, yeah.
Did we replace the computer? I'm trying to think. I know I bought.
Yeah,
we did that.
Yeah, it's had virtually everything thrown at it.
Yeah. New CV joints.
Yeah, CV, the front drive shaft.
Yep. Brake master cylinder, wasn't it? Brakes.
Brake master cylinder, the booster.
The booster, yeah.
It was a series of events because the brakes, because we couldn't drive it, we couldn't see what was wrong with it. And the master cylinder was bypassing, so we replaced that.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And then after it was running, when the exhaust was done, we could hear things. Then the brake booster was leaking. So that has since been replaced.
Had to get that. And then also the park brake, we did something there too, didn't we?
Yeah, the front handbrake cable was seized, so the handbrake wasn't functioning at all.
Yep.
It now works properly and releases like
it
should.
Yep. So this poor car was one that hadn't been maintained very well, don't you think?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
The power steering pump was leaking oil all over.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that was another.
That was a saga.
That was a saga because they had to buy special tools to remove it and put it back on, and then they didn't really. Either I couldn't get the right one, or the ones I got were the wrong one. So Ray put me on to a local one in the end, and we got that done. So that's been fixed as well. And so there's been a lot done to it. I'm hoping now that, and they always say hope's not a strategy, but I'm hoping that the thing's going to run properly. And you were saying that as soon as you put the fuel pump in, you reckon it's also running better?
Yeah, because it was running poorly, or not at all originally, after doing the injector work and the various bits and pieces, it still wasn't really
Like the pressure wasn't right or something?
Probably, yeah. Because the fuel pumps, after doing all the various work, it decided to fail.
Yeah, of course.
When we were ready to drive it for a road test. But
it
does, the old fuel pump was probably not operating at the correct pressure.
Yeah, and I hadn't replaced that. I think I bought at least 2 fuel pumps, but I hadn't replaced it, so that's done now. I mean, it's just one of those things where you just tick them off the list, isn't it?
That's right. Bit by bit as you go, the fuel tank has to come out to replace the pump. So that's all been done.
Yeah. So I'm hoping, I'm now going to go and grab some fuel and hopefully, take it for a drive for the first time. Yep.
Yeah, the power steering pump was a saga because we didn't have the correct pulley. All this had to come out to access it.
Yeah. The packaging's not good, is it, in these? Like it's not that accessible.
No, that's a very difficult thing to work on. It's got so much anti-pollution stuff and all
this. Yeah.
Creation of stuff's in the way.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
As I say, I had to take that out to get that pulley there.
Right.
A special puller to...
Oh yeah, to remove and to replace it.
Yeah, because the bolts are hiding behind the pulley.
Yeah.
So you have to take the pulley off to get at them.
Yeah. But it worked okay, the one in the end that we got locally.
Okay,
yeah. So this is the 4100 engine. So I've always kind of wanted to avoid these engines because I actually had a 81 468 Cadillac, and even that, that's a 368 cubic inch motor with that deactivation of cylinders, and I had a lot of problem with that. Now you can just disconnect it and run it as the best engine for these is either a 350, which is a Chev engine, or you can get the 6 litre in 1980. That's the best engine for these cars. But I was watching this guy, Adam, on Rare Classic Cars, and he's got a 4100, and he just said, look, they do have problems, but if you drive it carefully, there is also something I bought, which I haven't put in the radiator yet. It's like crushed walnut shells, and it's like they're little pellets, and you put them in the radiator, and apparently that sort of helps seal the engine to stop head gasket issues. I mean, what a weird thing to have to put in an engine, really. But he sort of, when I say he convinced me, I watched his episode on his car, and he said, look, if you maintain the cars and look after them, they're okay. It's not a performance machine, but they're okay.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, such a big heavy car and they put a very small V8
Yeah.
turned into a front-wheel drive.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder where they were at with all that. But
I mean, apparently with a 4-speed automatic on a freeway, they actually do get pretty good fuel consumption. I guess that's what this era, they were all about fuel consumption. It was all focused on that. Every ad for an American car had the miles per gallon on their city highway.
probably more so the anti-pollution side of it.
All that too.
Emissions and so on.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, often these things, when you strangle an engine with strangle a car with a smaller engine, you're better off just be getting a bigger engine that runs properly, and often it's just as economical, but much better to drive as well. So, but anyway, it needs a good wash. It's covered in dust, but that's fair. It's been sitting here a while. And the seats, I mentioned, I need to reupholster those. I want to get the leather fixed. I really like the interior. This is an Elegante, so it's got the bucket seats and the console, the digital dash, and yeah, I mean, that lens is missing. I think I've got one of those somewhere, but we've also got a problem with the seat, don't we? The motor's not working. Luckily, it's in a position where it's fine for me to drive, but and look, the reality is with these power seats, once you set it to where you want to see it, and I'm going to be the one driving it, you don't move it anyway. But it is nice to have things working. But yeah, and I've got to get the headlining done. That all needs to be done. These are like a pill-less or frameless glass, a bit like a Subaru in a way, or a 71-2 Ford Galaxy. So you've got the pillar in the middle, but frameless glass. And I know, Ray, you're not a huge fan, but especially now that you've been working on it, but yeah, I do like that
junk right out of the way.
But I might change my opinion after I drive it if it breaks down on me.
yeah, you won't be happy. If
touch wood, touch my head there, yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
All right, I'm going to go and get some fuel. Okay, I've got the fuel from the local mobile service station. Love that Pegasus mobile horse. And I'm really excited to drive the car, actually. It's just been a long time coming, and if you've followed through the various episodes, and if you haven't, maybe check them out. There's a playlist on Cadillac Seville. Yeah, there's been a lot of trials and tribulations and starts and stops, literally, to get this car sort of to where it is. So I'm hoping I can at least get to drive it and just see what it's like. 'Cause I haven't driven a Seville since I had my 81 model, literally back in about 1989 or 1990. So a long time since I've driven one of those. So anyway, let's see how we go. Let's put the fuel in it. Start it up nicely. That's not leaking fuel, that's water. Just washed a bit of over spill off. What's the gauge say?
Showing 9, so that's not a great advance, is it? On 7.
Would have put a lot more in than that. Maybe it's got to reset itself. Is there a reset on there, or?
Probably, I'm not sure, but it's done a bit gallons, I reckon, isn't it?
Yeah. But still, I put a fair bit in there.
2 gallons.
I don't know. Seems to be running well. Start up nicely. Yeah. Okay. Well, hopefully I'll take it for a spin and we'll touch wood, won't have any issues, and get to drive it. Okay, Ray's just going to back it out of his workshop, and then the brake lights work and the reversing lights. Well, they did. Then I'll take it for a spin. I think these look really cool. I really like them. Sounds quite good, actually. It's got a good note to it. I love that design. How cool does that look? Like I said, love it or hate it, but I love it. Especially the two-tone. It has to have a two-tone. My old one was single-tone, and it was a nice car, but the two-tone definitely looks a lot better. What a machine. The selector?
The selector mechanism, so that should be reversed.
Yes.
But it's still neutral, so you've got to...
Right.
That's gone to drive. But
okay. So slightly
gotta-
out of sync.
Yeah, because the bushes are worn,
Yeah.
and I think one of them's even not there, you're losing all that travel. So you'll get it
You'll get used to it, obviously.
very easily, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
The other thing, I don't know if you're familiar with the handbrake operation.
It's just pushed down and then it's meant to release itself, isn't it?
I've fixed all that, it does now. So if I put it on,
Yeah. Then you put it in drive, it should come off, shouldn't
that's
it?
right, you'll hear it.
Yeah, that's right.
It's
Perfect.
savage in the coming
That's
off.
all right. As long as well, at least I know it's off then, right?
And it works. And
Yeah.
you can't sort of test it in drive because it automatically switches it off. But
Yes.
It's got a special release thing. But
Right.
it's definitely working.
Okay. All right. Beautiful. Okay, so I've just got to get used to the brakes and just get used to the car generally. But you can see this is a bit loose. That needs to be sorted out, but it's not a big deal. But you'll get the headlining done anyway. So, you know. Okay. We're driving it. So far, so good. I'd like to get off this main road so I can just sort of drive it around. Okay, so off the main road now, so it's a lot easier. Just don't have to worry about all the traffic and stuff. So seems to be driving actually really well. Sounds quite nice. And yeah, it kind of takes me back to the one I had years ago. Tracks nicely. There's no issue with that. The brakes are good. Seems to be going well. The performance actually is very surprisingly much better. I drove a 4.1 Cadillac Fleetwood years and years ago in about 1988 from Rent-A-Wreck, and the thing was so gutless. Had a very restricted exhaust. I think this might have a bigger exhaust on it, and it's definitely flowing a lot better and letting the engine breathe more. But I remember the one I drove in California, the Rent-A-Wreck, was very restricted, and my God, it was terrible. It had no power. Couldn't get out of its own way if it tried. So it's really cool to actually just drive the car, you know. It's very cool. It's got that classic Seville grille on it, that custom grille, which you can see sort of protrudes above the bonnet line. I kind of probably prefer a standard grille, but it's not too bad. Like, in terms of any custom things, it's very mild compared to what a lot of other custom cars can be. And I'm not into that sort of thing anyway, but showing 10 gallons of fuel. We put quite a bit in it, so I don't know how accurate that is. Transmission's changing nicely. Brakes are good, steering's good. It's actually, yeah, it's actually really cool. I'm really enjoying this actually. It's just so nice to drive the car, like I said, after such a long period of time, having the car, spending a lot of money on the car, but not actually being able to drive the car. I mean, that's why you have cars at the end of the day, even though I know I'm guilty of having a lot of cars and not probably using them as much as I should. There's definitely, guilty as charged there. But yeah, it's really cool. I'm really enjoying it. Terrific. Touch wood that we don't have any mechanical issues. So this car it's an Elegante, so it has a lot of options. You know, Twilight Sentinel, automatic headlights. They'll stay on at night to show the way on the driveway for you, or they'll dip the high beam to low beam for oncoming traffic. Cadillac brought that out in, I think, 1952 as an option. It's got twin power seats, the even power recline in this Elegante. You know, it's a really nice car. Love the car, love it. The ride, actually, here's something. The ride actually is a little firmer than I recall in my Cadillac Seville. And I was trying to think, well, why is that? Is it because the car's older? It's 30 years later. But no, what it is that this car actually is fitted with touring suspension, which was an option. And part of that obviously is, firmer dampers, I guess, and springs, versus what I would have had, which was just the standard Seville suspension. So I reckon that's what it is. But yeah, it's really cool. I'm really surprised, and again, I think it's 100% the exhaust. I'm really surprised at how well the 4.1 litre V8 goes, because my only sort of comparison was that Fleetwood Brom to Elegance that I'd had from Rent-A-Wreck back in '88. I think it was 88 or 86 it might have been. I think it was 88, it was 88. And that was an absolute slug. All you could hear was air coming out the exhaust. It was so badly restricted. And I thought, this thing can't get out of its own way. So, and prior to that, I actually had from Rent a Wreck a Mark 6 Lincoln Signature Series 351. And I drove that around the streets, and they were like 20 bucks a day or something. It was just, that car's worth nothing. And that was really cool. But unfortunately, the tail lights went out on that, and I got pulled over by the California Highway Patrol. And they said, oh, you've got to put your hazard flashes on and take it back to where you rented it from, because the tail lights or the brake lights, I think it was the tail lights weren't working. So, which did come up on the dashboard as an issue, but anyway. So I got the Cadillac, and that was a huge disappointment compared to the Lincoln. But that's another story. Yes, I'm really enjoying this. And this is actually a good place to test drive the car. Just some back streets, even like the way that the door trims are done with that Elegante. You can see all the power controls for the windows and the locks. All that actually works. The digital dash, it's showing now 9 gallons instead of 10. I wouldn't have thought I would have used that much fuel. I put it in about, I bought $35 worth, and in Australia that gives you about 20 litres, if that. And I poured about 2/3 of that jerry can into the car. So yeah, I've got plenty of fuel. I'm not going to run out of fuel. But really cool, really cool. I'm really happy. So we'll head back to Ray's now, and yeah, it still plays with cars. That's the t-shirt. And give him the good news. And then I'm sure he'll want it out of there. But I've got another little project in mind for Ray, which I haven't shared with the channel yet. But that's still a way off. It's not here yet. But it's something that I'd like Ray to work on. And then it's going to require my friend Brian to do his magic. And it's a very, very rare car. I think one of about 30 or 37 built. But again, just what I need, another project. It does require quite a bit of work, but it's a car that's 100% worth doing. As I said, one of 30 or 37 made, and really cool. This thing is driving really well. The ride's very comfortable. As I said, it's firmer than the Seville I had before, but it's fine. It's not an issue. I might see if Ray can slightly adjust the brakes to give me a little bit more less pedal travel. There's not a lot of travel, but I just prefer a little bit less, if that's something he can adjust relatively easily. If not, it's fine the way it is. I'm pretty sure these have forward disc brakes, they have self-leveling suspension. You know, they're really nicely equipped cars, but I get it that the styling's one of those love it or hate it. So yeah, anyway, let's head back to the workshop and give Ray the good news. So we're back at the workshop. The car drove really well, didn't overheat, it tracked really well, and as you could tell on the drive, you know, the car, you know, the brakes were good, and everything was good. The steering was good, so I'm really happy with it, and it's nice to finally drive the car. Started up no problem at all. It ran well, it idled well, and yeah, it's very good. I think Ray's going to be very sad to see it go. Maybe not, but he's done a fantastic job, and I need to get a riser tube for that off the manifold, but yeah, it's really good. It's cool. Happy with it. And one thing that surprised me was the amount of power. Not that it's powerful by any stretch of the imagination, but the amount of power it had compared to just my perceptions or my experience with a 4.1 engine previously back in the 80s. It's much, much better, and I think that's because of the exhaust, you know. So yeah, it's got this classic Seville mild custom, which includes those wheels, and this more heavier grille. I just prefer a standard grille, to be honest, but look, whether I could be bothered replacing that, I'd probably just leave it as is. I probably don't really like the view over the hood. As you can see, it sort of is up quite high above the bonnet, whereas I prefer it's just more kind of flush looking. But having said that, if I take it off, I mean, what's underneath it? You know what I mean? That's the point. If I do see a nose cap for one for the right price, I might just buy one and just see, because it just screws on and off. So yeah, that's it. Really pleased. My Seville is up and running. So apart from a bit of trim work and headlining, I think, and probably some minor bits and pieces here and there, I think the car's pretty well done. Another project, well, not another, but a project finished. Well, another project, 'cause I did the 68 Eldorado as well. As I said, that the ride's a little firmer than my old Seville, but that's because of that touring suspension option, but it's still very comfortable. Hey Ray, now they say that parting is such sweet sorrow. Shakespeare said that. You didn't know I was that cultured, did you?
No, I didn't know.
You still don't. How do you feel?
Push that junk right out of the way.
Personally, but I'm happy with it. It
Yeah.
seems all good, and I'll be quite happy to see it go too.
It does.
Mainly
It drives
because
well.
It takes up so much room.
Yes.
And
Yes.
shifting it around and blocking off hoists.
Well, the good news is I'll always have other projects for you, Ray. That's the good
I'm
thing.
sure you will.
I won't run out of cars, but
Including-
I've got this, which is that'll be another episode. But I just want to say thanks very much for all the work you've done on the car, and I really appreciate it. I know it's been pretty frustrating at times with parts and the wrong parts, or just needing parts that we didn't know we needed and all that kind of stuff. But the good thing is, like, just driving it now, it drove really well. The engine actually, I drove one of these in the 80s on a bigger Cadillac, and it was very underpowered, very restricted exhaust. You could just hear air coming out the back. This has got a bigger exhaust, and
same engine, was it?
same engine, and this makes a slightly maybe lighter car, but I think the exhaust is probably bigger, and it makes a huge difference. It drives really nicely. It's not powerful, but it's got enough power. It can get out of its own way, steers well, brakes well, tracks well.
It's a limousine, it's a cruiser.
Yeah, well, it idled well in the traffic because, I was waiting for traffic lights to change and things, and it gets a bit hotter. That's why I'm keen just to see, afterwards when you check things that, it all looks above board, but it was fine.
Yeah, it's idling better now than it ever has been.
Yeah.
It had problems
Yeah.
initially.
Yeah.
Even after fixing them.
Yeah.
It's better now.
Yeah.
Especially with the fuel pump.
But even like sitting in the traffic, when you can tell it's getting a little bit warmer, it doesn't start stuttering or whatever you want to use the word, but it was really good. So, yep, thank you very much. I really do appreciate it.
That's all right. They're always a problem, no matter
Yeah.
whose car or what it is. But
That's right.
it always sorts out in the end.
And you have to tell me what the bill is too.
I'll give you an idea now.
Yes. So that's the Cadillac Seville Elegante edition. I think it was an 83 or 4 model, 4.1 litre V8, which gets the bad rap, but actually it's running really well, and I hope it continues to do so. And the power's pretty good. I think with that exhaust, that's the main reason why. But as I said, appreciate the work that Ray's done. He does a great job. He's working on my F250 truck at the moment. He's been doing that for a while. But please give the Seville a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. And also, please check out the Cadillac Seville playlist. You can see all the episodes from day dot and just the progress or lack thereof along the way. But she's going home, and it's a good feeling, and I'm really happy. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.